well before this.
And punk rock was stupid anyway. I mean, punk in the 70s was fucking dumb. It really was.
Well.
I mean, outside of the Clash, and the Misfits, punk kind of sucked in the 70s.
The Velvet Underground was punk, and they were fantastic.
Well, the Velvet Underground were kind of garbage for the most part. They had like one good record.
Jesus
But,
fucking Christ. Your mouth just says things that are just so stupid. Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go! Hey, oh, hey,
Fucking child over here. This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different album, we break it down, we find out all the little secrets we can about it, and we let you in on it. So while you're listening, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, give us 5 stars on there. All the social media is at Asinine Radio. We have a Discord server. If you want to join that, let us know. We'll send you the link. And we have a phone number. You can call. You could leave us a voicemail, send us a text. The phone number for that is 503-893-5307. So get into that. And with that being said and done, what the fuck are we doing today, Jeff?
We are doing the soundtrack to the Rocky Horror Picture Shows.
Yeah, let's just jump into our our initial thoughts on this, our origin story and our initial thoughts. So, what do you got, Jeff? Go.
My origin story with this just comes from drama in high school. Not everybody, a lot of people talked about the Rocky Horror Picture Show and how great it was and it was so fantastic. I was okay, so I watched this in high school. I mean that's where it came from. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. The movie itself is good. It's not great. It's not bad. I think it's good. The music, I think, is better than the movie. But the lore and the cult following and everything else about it, I think, is what makes it great. But, come on. Honestly, the movie's okay. Besides Meatloaf, who I love now, and then Tim Curry, everyone else is, all right.
Tim Curry is, easily the best part of this, without a doubt.
He's untouchable, honestly.
Yeah. My origin story, I remember actually the first time I watched this, I was in 8th grade, and some friends of the pod, they were a year older than us, so they were in drama in high school. They were cool freshmen in high school, and they were doing the musical what is it? Little Shop of Horrors. That's what they were doing, and I remember we watched it, or I went to go watch my friends perform at their musical at their high school, and then after that we went back to our friend's house, and then we watched we watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that was the first time I ever saw it. And I remember for the next 2 years I'd probably seen this movie maybe 30-40 times. It was a lot. We used to watch this movie a lot. But yeah, that's my origin story. Drama, I guess, in a drama class that I wasn't in, but
drama,
that was my thing.
Drama.
Yeah. My theater drama, whatever you want to call it, whatever you kids call it nowadays. But yeah, my initial thoughts, I agree with you on this. The movie's not that great. The music sets it apart. The weird costumes, the content itself is very edgy. Even in today's standards, it's kind of edgy. You don't see a lot of stuff like this even nowadays. So I get that, but overall it's not that great of a story, not that great of a movie, but whatever. It was very bootleg. It was done in a very bootleg way too, which I had no idea. They had to reuse a bunch of costumes, and it was weird. And considering how much money it's made to this day is insane to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't know until this week. And one, I didn't know that it was a play in England first before it was a play over here in America.
Yeah.
So play in England, movie, play in America is kind of the timeline it went down. And I know the England one existed before the American version existed. But otherwise, I also I so many different things I've read about this week, but I like the way it's written. I think it's written in a purposely cheesy way to like pay homage to these horror B movies, and it's silly and it's fun and all these sci-fi things going on, but it's a play. It's a play that was adapted to a movie, and the movie doesn't do it quite justice because like I watched several. I've never seen the play live. I really really want to, but watching some stuff on YouTube, like fixed camera stuff, man, it's a really 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 good play, and I don't really care for the movie all that much. I own on the DVDs, and I have actually the vinyl that I have too. I found out this week that it's the Broadway performance. It's not the movie or the English performance.
Oh.
It's the Broadway performance, which is it's the exact same as the movie. It's just there's two songs that are either omitted or that are omitted that are on it. What's the opposite of omitted?
I guess added. You could just say added.
Added. I'm gonna say mitted. There are two songs that are either omitted or mitted. That's the only difference. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, I just had I didn't know that it was an English play first.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But it makes sense when everybody on the cast is English except for 3 of the people. You know,
Yeah.
everybody else British. But and that was kind of I read something that was interesting too. The person who I forgot her name, but whoever designed the costumes, she had never been to America, so she kind of she was kind of weird about it, and she just kind of generalized what she thought Americans look like, and that's what she based the clothes off of for Jan and for Janet and what's his name? Brad. Yeah, and just this,
Asshole and slut.
and I mean she kind of nailed it, but yeah, I thought it was a weird thing. Like she kind of guessed, and she claims that she had never seen a sci-fi movie, so all the space age costumes were all just her own thought. And I thought, come on, dude, really? Like you've never seen anything that can inspire you? Like you've never seen any sort of sci-fi or pictures or anything like that? That was lame.
Yeah, there's I mean
A little pretentious.
this is a play that came out in the early 70s, and then they made a movie about it in the mid 70s, and it did shit. Nobody liked it. Nobody knew what the fuck was happening. Nobody watched it. And they pulled it from theaters because nobody was going, and theaters were empty. There was nobody there. And then just by like the grace of God, they started trickling out onto midnight showings, and it just got picked up randomly just by the freaks, the geeks, and the romantics. Really.
I mean, it makes sense why it didn't get picked up. I mean, for 1975, this is like it's extremely edgy. The content is pretty wild.
For me, you're right. Even like you said it already, it's still pretty aggressive. Like even by today's standards, you're watching you're like, wow, this is like if they made a movie that was like this now, like nobody would watch it. People would fucking hate it. People would pretend to like it, but it wouldn't last. It would just be novelty at best. But it wouldn't withstand 50 years that it has. Like it still plays in theaters. I've seen this in theaters twice.
I've seen it in theaters. Yeah.
Both times it was the first time I saw it in theaters. I didn't know that people interact the way they do. I knew they dressed up, but I didn't know people do other things in the theater.
Yeah, they reenact the entire fucking movie.
They get out of their fucking chairs and they stand beneath the screen and they act out the movie. Mm-hmm. And that's commonplace and that's fine and that's encouraged. But then like there are little other things too. Whenever somebody says the word Brad, you're supposed to yell asshole. And whenever someone yells the word or says the word Janet, you yell slut. And so like I'm watching this and they say, oh Brad, and he's asshole. I'm like, why the fuck is everybody yelling? And they go, Janet, slut. I'm like, why? Why are you talking? Why are you yelling at me? So, like, all those things are cool. And you also throw food and shit, and there's all these other little things that you do. And obviously, like nowadays, you can't be throwing shit at the theater. That's disgusting. But it's like that part of this is really cool, and I like that people are so invested in something that they don't even know the origins to them anymore. It's just become a thing. It's just become this blob, this entity to where we don't even know how it happened, why it happened, but it's been happening for so long that we just keep doing it because it's fun and it's ours. And I think that's why this is consistently played in theaters for 50 plus years, is because it's ours. Not me specifically, but this, anybody that's ever felt like left out or alone or like a dork or a freak, or anybody that's ever felt like just left out of any kind of social group, you can always come to the Rocky Horror Picture Show and feel welcome.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Much
very
like all
true.
those stupid bands you like, those mindless self Wednesday 14s, like all those people, that's why they like that type of music.
You're the worst.
It's because there's no judgments when you
fucking worst.
yeah, because there's no judgments when you go to there. Because like that type of music's already bad, so it can't get
No,
any
it's
worse.
not.
So you go to those shows to feel safe, to feel welcome. Man, your mindless 14s and corns and everything. It's all the same.
The fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. What was I forgot what I was gonna say.
I know what you're gonna say.
What? This is gonna be a tough one for us because we've never really done a soundtrack like this, and also we're gonna try our best.
The song we
So I
played is
did-
fantastic. Like there are songs on here that are fucking fantastic. That are
No,
so good.
there's some really amazing songs.
Like the
yeah.
Time Warp. That is such a banger of a song. It's such a good song. It's a good hard rock and roll song.
It
And a
is.
lot of these
I
songs
totally
are
agree.
based out of like the 50s rock and roll. Like they're very much of that era, just with like a tinge to them. But there's no like sexuality tinge to the music as there is in obviously the performance. And so that's where I think like the cool contrast comes in, is you get this hyper aggressive sexuality visually, but then the music is still kind of lighthearted 50s rock and roll. But then the lyrics, they like the lyrics kind of go right in the middle of them. And I love that.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, like except for the song, like the Touch Me song,
Yeah.
that Janet sings. I mean, that's like the only song that has it has vulgar lyrics, but I don't even want to call them vulgar. But outside of that, I totally agree with you. I mean, the music is kind of separate from the actual performance. So I'm with you on that. Dude, I had like so many things on my mind, but now I can't even. I lost my train of thought.
There was an actual band that played with for this movie, and for like the songs. Right, there was a band that recorded, and the drummer is the only person that I know who was from a band that I recognize, and that's Procol Harum, who was like a prog band that I kind of briefly got into when we did the vinyl thing, and I was like, okay, cool, like that's a band that I can recognize as being very influential. People love them, and some of their early records go for a lot of money. And so that was cool. I dug that. But I'm also glad that it's not like a super group band made up of like John Anderson from Yes on vocals and Chris Squire and then all these other guys, Robert Fripp's on here. Like I like that it's just a bunch of guys.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of
like
like the whole movie was kind of like a bootleg thing.
Yeah.
Like it's something that should have never been made. And then kind of hearing how after this movie came out, what's his name? Richard O'Brien? Yeah, Richard O'Brien, the guy who pretty much created this, plays Riff Raff in the movie. He's tried to make sequels ever since this movie came out, but nothing has ever gone through. Everything's fallen through every single time, and it's kind of a shame. Like I kind of wonder what like a proper sequel would have looked like. But I don't know.
It's kind of like the Boondock Saints curse, right? Like the Boondock Saints 2 came out. Like on its own, it was fine. But calling it the Boondocks, no, like on its own.
Bad,
if it was just
bad,
called
dude.
anything else, it wasn't.
Dude, it was bad. When was the last time you watched it?
I watched it a couple years ago, like when
No,
you
you
guys
did
watched
not.
it.
No, you did not. If you did, then you would not be saying it.
It's silly.
It's not good, dude. It's fucking stupid.
But like calling it a Boondock Saints sequel is what did it the most harm.
I don't know.
It's fine.
So you've never seen this on stage before?
No, I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
Okay, because I've seen it twice on stage, but it was like a local theater thing, and actually, friend of the pod Chris was in it. He was in the musical, and Chris played Rocky in the show.
He would play Rocky. I could see him as Rocky.
Yeah, he played Rocky. I mean, yeah. So it was cool too because they had a live band play with them. It wasn't pre-recorded music. They had a guitar. I think they had one guitarist, a bass player, and a drummer, and then they played all the music while the cast sang, and that was really cool too. It was funny. It was funny hearing Chris sing because I'd never heard him sing before. So, being friends with him since we were 6 years old, never heard him sing before. So that was funny.
Which is
But-
funny because the actor that played Rocky didn't sing or speak his own roles or his own lines.
Yeah, that's true.
All dubbed. Like the only person in the movie.
Yeah.
Literally just got
But
him for his looks.
But that was the only time I've seen it in a live performance at a local theater, which was cool. I mean, they worked really hard on the production too, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So we kind of got the introductions here, a little bit of backstory on the movie and stuff. Let's just jump into Time Warp. I mean, we kind of did talk about it, but this is my favorite song on the whole record as well. And I like at the end of the movie, there's the instrumental version of the song. And the instrumental version is really it gives it an entirely different feel to the song without the vocals on it. It's a really well crafted song. Very well crafted.
I think this is like one of 3 or 4 songs throughout the whole thing that I think is a good song if you just took it out of this production.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah,
just
absolutely.
3 of them. But yeah, God, dude, but like the vocal part in the beginning, like that's Richard O'Brien, Riff Raff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. It's
is.
so cool. I love the way he sounds. I love the way he presents the words. The way he says astounding is just, I don't know. It's so cool. It gives me like the goosebumps. I love it. It's so good.
I don't even think he's that great of a singer either, but it's perfect for this song and for this movie, this production.
It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah, it is.
And like
And just
it's,
the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun. It's just, you're constantly moving. The song's constantly moving, and it's just, you're constantly excited. And then once it hits that chorus, it's a chorus of people singing like a falsetto. But then when you listen to it without it, like I was saying, it's like this big crunchy like power chord guitars. But when you hear it in the whole mix, that gets buried with all the vocals,
yeah.
which sucks. But when you hear that
It's
instrumental,
a play.
It's a totally
It
different.
has to
feel.
be, and it's annoying, but it has to be.
Yeah,
But
it's,
like-
it's really rad.
So first off, this song sounds so much like, it reminds me so much of "Stay With Me" by Faces, the Rod Stewart band before he was like Rod Stewart. And if you've heard "Stay With Me," God, dude, these 2 songs remind me so much of each other, so
Really?
much that I even like Googled like Time Warp sounds like "Stay With Me," and I've only found one other deep like Reddit thread that somebody made the comparison to, but I swear to you, they are very, very similar, just in tone
When did
and
that
sound.
Rod Stewart come out? Or
That was
Faces song
that was like 70, 71.
come out? Okay, so it was prior to this.
I brought Faces to the pod once. I think, dude, Rod Stewart is a guy that I think is really, really cool, and I really got to get into him because I like everything that he does, even though he's kind of a goof. But
Yeah, definitely.
that band Faces, I think that's their first album. Stay with, or I think it's just called Faces maybe, but it's a killer album. But yeah, it sounds a lot like this, which is
Okay.
good. And this song is like the original Casper Slide. Like you're telling somebody how to dance. Like this is the OG Casper Slide,
Yeah.
right?
It's just a jump to the left, and I like how the music just everything stops, and it's the criminologist.
Yeah, fucking Blowfield is telling us how to dance.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's fucking Blofeld from Diamonds Are Forever.
We got a villain
Jesus
telling us what
Christ.
to do.
Oh, he also plays a different character in You Only Live Twice. He plays. Do you remember in that?
Does
who
he play
plays in that?
3 different characters in the James Bond series or just 2?
No, just the 2. He played in You Only Live Twice in 1967. He plays like the informant in Japan, and he ends up getting killed. He gets stabbed in the back through the paper wall.
I remember the
And
part. I
then-
don't remember him being. It was him. Was that before the thing went up, and then they shot Bond through the bed?
No, oh, that was the same movie, but that was when Bond gets shot through the bed. That was the beginning of that movie because that's when he dies. You only live twice.
Yeah.
That's when he dies, and then when he meets that informant, or no, he's not even an informant. He's just like somebody who works for the British government, but he's lived in Japan for like 20 years. He says, and he's like absorbed the Japanese lifestyle, and then he dies like 3 minutes later. But then 3 years later, in 1971, he plays Blofeld, the main villain in Diamonds Are Forever, which is so weird. Like using the same actor 5 years apart in the same movie franchise is weird.
It's silly.
Yeah, very silly. But yeah, no, that he plays the criminologist in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Did you see
And
that
it's so
the
bizarre.
that the original person they wanted to do that, and the person said yes, I want to do it, but scheduling just didn't happen, was Vincent Price.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I
Vincent,
didn't read that. No.
they offered it to Vincent Price. Vincent Price said, "Yep, I'll do it." And then it was just scheduling mishap, and he probably wasn't very committed to it. And he's like, it's not going to work out. But fuck, man, imagine Vincent Price in that role.
That would have been so cool. Like,
Ooh.
I love what happened, like what it became. But Vincent Price would have just been so weird.
He's
so
untouchable.
different.
Come on, he's
Yeah.
unreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Dude, there's
I
a
didn't-
lot
I don't
of
know if
people that
you-
were supposed to be in this, or that got offered the job or whatever.
So I don't know if you saw this. You probably did, but in 2015 or 2016 when they redid it for like the musical for TV, but they did like the stage performance,
Yeah.
And Tim Curry came back but didn't play Dr. Frankenfurter. He played that criminologist
Yeah.
in the stage version. I thought that was pretty cool for
Yeah.
him to come back.
That's awesome because you're like passing because this is not Tim Curry's thing. This Tim Curry just fucking owned it, but like it's cool to see him be able to pass the torch. And I'll get into some cool Tim Curry stories later, but it's cool to see him like pass the torch but still be involved.
Yeah.
Because like you can't do a fucking remake of Rocky Horror without Tim Curry. And it's a silly boy talk. It's silly
I know.
boy talk.
It's amazing how iconic that character is, and just how much better he is than everybody else. Not to
Everybody
say like
else.
some of them were bad, but I mean he just outshines everybody in every scene.
The
It's remarkable.
The only person that I think like holds a candle that's even close to Tim Curry's Meatloaf.
Really, I think Susan
Yeah.
Sarandon did a really good job too.
Susan
I really
Sarandon.
think she did a good job.
She wasn't supposed to be there. She was visiting Tim Curry. Like they were friends. She was visiting Tim Curry, and they're like, "Hey, you should just audition for this." And she's like, "Nah, I don't sing." And then Richard Bryan was like, "Everybody sings. Like, can you sing Happy Birthday?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can sing Happy Birthday." He said, "Sing Happy Birthday." So she sang it, and he's like, "Yeah, that was fine. You should just be in this play." And she's like, "Okay," and that was it.
I mean, I guess anybody could be better than Richard O'Brien. I mean, like I said, his singing isn't bad, but it's not that great. So as long as you could be better than him, I think you're pretty solid on this cast.
Susan Sarandon and whoever played Brad they're
Barry
not
Bostwick.
bad. They're not bad, but like they're for sure throwaway actors. They're only there to just drive the plot forward. That is it. They're not the stars of the show. In
Well, I
any
know
way.
they're not the stars of it, but I still felt like her
Yeah.
her presentation or her acting was. I thought it was really good. I thought Tim Curry and her were the best parts of this movie.
I read a lot of like fucking just really stupid things, and I guess like whoever Lou Adler and who produced it, and then O'Brien were both kind of upset with Susan Sarandon because she wouldn't get naked, even though she had done it before. Like she had done it
Yeah.
beforehand, and they're like, "Why won't you just get naked?" And I was like, "Why would you even like get
so
fucking
pervy.
mad at that?"
It's so pervy. Yeah, I mean, it's the 70s, so it was a very different time. I understand that, but damn, dude, that's fucking weird.
But to like say, "Hey, will you get naked?" Nah, I don't want to do it. Oh, but you did it before. Like, what? What? How is that like? How does that make any sense? How is that okay?
Yeah,
So stupid.
that's fucking weird.
Good stuffs. Funny stuffs.
Great stuffs. Great stuffs. All right, we got anything else on Time Warp? What do you think?
No, Time Warp. Oh yeah. Then after, I mean, just real quick too, because I didn't know what it was. But after Time Warp, kind of like it's ending or it's ended. Brad, he asks in a really stupid way, like, "Does anybody know how to Madison?" And I was like, "What the fuck is Madison?" And I looked it up, and Madison is just like this stupid fucking dumb line dance from like the 50s that, you know what I mean, that people would do,
Yeah,
like arm's length. You
And
remember when he
it's so
says
square. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's
I
so
love that's always
stupid.
been one of my favorite lines in the entire movie.
it? Does anybody know
was
what a
that.
Madison? What the fuck
'Cause
is
it's like-
Madison?
It's the squarest thing that you could possibly say.
Yeah.
Like the most generic vanilla thing you could say after that huge production of everybody dancing and oh my gosh. And in Time Warp there's a part like at the beginning when they're going through the entryway and Riff Raff he puts his arms up like on the side of the wall and he does that like leg kick thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what it is,
Yes.
but the first time I saw the movie until today when I watched it again for probably the 50th time, I laughed just as hard as I did that first time I saw it because it's so stupid. It looks so dumb. I love it. I think it's, oh my God, it's so hilarious.
His character makes no fucking sense. He has this
Yeah.
massive like hunch on his back, and it goes
Which is
away and
gone.
it comes in, and it's just like it only
like some young
affects him
Frankenstein
sometimes. Yeah, exactly. It only affects him like when he feels like it. And then he like puts his arms up in a way that there's no physically way possible for you to lift your arms like that with that type of hunch on your back. And it's just like, then why even have the hunch? But like
It's
that's
so bootleg.
what makes
I
it
love
so bootleg and so good.
Yeah, no, I know. I totally agree.
But I think all these
Totally
little
agree.
nuances were not intentional. I think like that thing, they made him as a hunchback to make him look let's make him look sci-fi B movie style.
Well, he's supposed to look like Igor from Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, but
That was the thing.
but shitty. Because they even brought like Bride of Frankenstein at the very end with her little
with her
lightning
hair.
bolts
And
in her
then-
hair. Yeah,
Well, even that, but not only that, but because they were so under budget or they didn't have enough money, they had to use old props from old movies from the 50s and stuff. And one of the big props that they used was the container that Rocky comes in when Rocky is technically born when he's in the water.
that glass
tank.
container.
That glass container that was from the son. I think of the Son of Frankenstein, if I'm not mistaken, from that particular movie, and that was just like one of the big props that they reused for this movie. But there were a bunch of things, like even the house, that huge estate, that castle that they use has been used countless times in various B movies and all kinds of shit throughout the years. So
You can visit the house too, even still today.
I know it's pretty crazy, right? I would love to go visit it.
I would too.
Not even for the Rocky Horror shit, just to visit something that old.
Do you like dress up when you go? I mean, I don't know if you still do, but like, did you dress up when you go to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No. I've only seen it. I've only seen it once in theaters. I didn't. No, I'm not gonna. I didn't dress up.
I saw it twice. I would still go. Like they usually play it around Halloween time. A lot of the theaters out here, and I'd still like going, but I would never dress up. I'm too old for that shit.
And the way some of these people dress up, I mean, they look exactly like the characters.
They take a lot of time. I think that's my biggest problem is I don't want to have to put any effort into anything. I barely get
That's
dressed
true.
in the morning. I don't want to dress up.
I mean, look at last weekend, the wedding.
I'm still complaining about how much fucking work it was being invited to go to a party.
That you did not dress up for.
Dude, but remember oh my God, that fucking beard that we had in the Uber home. That was so annoying.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to get into it. It's just going to make me mad. So
We'll get into it on a later episode because it's irrelevant right now. But yeah, I don't know. So we were talking about the house, the castle,
yeah,
that itself. I mean, that thing is just. I think it was built in the 1860s. I think that's what it said. And I mean that house is amazing. It is so cool.
that first shot of it, it's so big and it's cool looking. And then they pans over to when they're knocking on the door and then goes up and it shows Riff Raff. What's the guy's name? O'Brien, Murphy, and O'Brien. Richard O'Brien.
Richard O'Brien.
O'Brien and Murphy from Seinfeld. And it pans up to him. Like even that's like a really cool shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the props wise, stage wise, costume wise, everything's top notch. I also read too, like talking about you mentioned earlier, but costumes and makeup. But one of the persons that was involved with like the makeup and the styling was David Bowie's old stylist, like from like the early 70s, late 60s, and the person that essentially invented the style for Frankenfurter for Tim Curry was David Bowie's stylist. That's cool because David Bowie is such an iconic character, and I call him a character because I've never listened to his music, so I don't call him a musician yet. But he's such a character, and I think it's cool to see that correlation between like fucking in the historic rock star to budget shit plays like this, and to see like all the
he
people
really
behind the scenes.
He was a character. I mean, that's what Ziggy Stardust was. I mean, that was straight up a character. More about that. It was more about the character and the story than it was the music itself. I think, but I mean, I'm not a Bowie fan at all.
I know.
So.
Neither am I. We've never done Bowie in the pod. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to call him a musician yet because I don't know what he wrote. I don't know how much of it he wrote. I don't know what he came up with. I don't know if he had a team of writers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for sure, he's a character.
But
At least he's a character. At most, he's a historic musician.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere in the middle. But yeah, that was cool. I like that. You know.
And I read too that by the time that they filmed this in the mid 70s, that house was like falling apart. Like nobody had really restored the house in 100 years. But I guess now it's been fully restored and it's like really nice now. But at the time, it was falling apart, and that's why they filmed it there. Was because they probably did it for really fucking cheap.
Well,
So they filmed most of the movie either in there or at like just a studio lot.
like
a soundstage.
like going off of that too. Susan Sarandon also, she got fucking pneumonia. That pool scene.
Yeah.
She got
Yeah.
pneumonia because there was no. She was like, dude, it's fucking cold in here. There was one room that they used to have a bunch of heaters in it so the staff could like warm up, but then the room caught on fire. And so there was no place to like warm up because the house was old, decrepit, falling apart. And so Susan Sarandon got fucking pneumonia.
And it's not even the fact that it wasn't even just the house too, but I mean, even if they're on a soundstage, a big soundstage is not going to be heated properly. And not only that, they filmed this during the winter.
Yeah.
They filmed it in the
6
winter
weeks.
in England. And not only that, from what I was reading during those pool scenes, they didn't have enough costumes. So what they were doing is they only had like 2 of each costume. So one costume would be wet, and then they would have to change out or something like that. And then they have to put on a wet costume, a cold, wet costume, and then film a scene or multiple scenes in that cold, wet costume.
They had
And that
no
led
money.
to her pneumonia.
They had no
Yeah.
money, so like while they're filming one scene, they're hang drying the other costumes and trying to dry them out as much as possible. And then when that wet costume now got too unbearable, they switch out. So they put on like a damp costume and hang that sopping wet costume out to dry, and they just keep doing that back and forth. And it's just
It's so crazy.
and then like all of this culminates into like, okay, well that's cool. Like you guys made a movie that is a cult classic, and you're making a bunch of money off the DVD sales. That's great. But Susan Sarandon is a very outspoken. I say Susan Sarandon a lot, but I do like her. I think she's okay in the movie, but as a person, I like her a lot. But she's been
Yeah, I
very
like her too.
outspoken about, been very vocal about how they don't make shit off of the fucking royalties from the DVD sales. None of the cast
Really?
members make anything. It's
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
multiple times over the past decade, she's been like, "No, fuck that movie. Fuck that. We don't make shit off the royalties," and that's
Shit.
shitty.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
That
But I
is
mean,
shitty.
when you really think about it, most of the money probably comes from like not bootleg, but like little movie theaters just playing the DVD or the Blu-ray or the digital copy every week. So they're probably playing these movies illegally, and that's why they're not getting anything.
But then you see
that's
like,
what I imagine.
but then you go to Hot Topic, and even now, Hot Topic still has shirts of the like the lips or Tim
Yeah,
Curry's
yeah.
face. Like they still have merch that is from this. Like these people probably don't see a goddamn cent of that.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, if anybody sees any money, it's going to be Richard O'Brien. I mean, honestly, he's like the mastermind behind this. But he has no other credit to his name outside of Rocky Horror.
And I don't know. It's. You're right. Like it's like, what are we going to give them? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to give you because this is such a fan thing. This is almost like this is even more like bootleg than like when Star Wars first kind of started out, and like there's no money to
way
give
more.
you.
Yeah.
So I would give you money if there was money, but I don't know what you want me to give you. So I get that. I understand that. I don't know. I'm glad that this has found its audience.
All right. Are we good with Time Warp now? Should we move on to a to-be for one of us? What other songs do you really dig on this one?
So the other song that I've liked, but I never liked as much as I do this week is Hot Patootie, baby.
Really?
Bless my soul.
Really? That you like that one?
This is
That's not even a banger for me.
That's because you're an idiot, but that's fine.
I don't know why you like Meatloaf so much. I just don't. Get
I
it.
never have liked Meatloaf so much until this week. I like him in Tenacious D, yes, and I like Bad Outta Hell because I think Bad Outta Hell is really great. But I mean,
Yeah.
Bad Outta Hell was 2-3 years after this came out.
Was it really?
Yeah,
Shit, I assumed that it was like before.
Meatloaf.
Then it wouldn't make sense because he wouldn't have been in the movie probably.
Meatloaf wasn't shit until essentially this movie and Bad Outta Hell. He had one album before this that he shared with somebody else. It didn't do that
Yeah.
great, but it wasn't until his performance in Hair, the musical Hair,
Yeah.
Like that's what kind of got him traction, and then this is what really catapulted him into like holy fuck, this kid's got a voice. And then Bad out of Hell, fuck man, Bad out of Hell is like I'm gonna add to my fucking list of albums that we're gonna need to do. Meatloaf, Bad out of Hell.
I think you already did. I think it's already on there.
It's a good album. Okay, shithead. And
I mean, he is an amazing singer. He was. I mean, absolutely amazing singer. But I don't know.
dude,
This
like
song's not that great.
everything about this is just so cool. Like Meatloaf crashes through the wall, right, with the fucking saxophone attached to him. like what? Eddie crashes through the wall with a saxophone attached to him and belts out a solid fucking jam. And dude,
And then he
kid,
has the gash in his head.
tell
His brain got removed.
me that Jack Black did not model his entire existence off of just this one performance by Meatloaf. This is Jack Black to a T. Everything about
that's-
what Meatloaf does is Jack Black. And I love it.
That's fair.
And then to have
Very, very fair.
and then to come full circle with Jack Black to do like Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, and have Meatloaf on there must have just been like literally a dream come true. Because I know Jack Black loves Meatloaf a lot, and I know he's talked about it, but this performance, I really honestly believe that Jack Black probably saw this in his younger age and was like, holy fuck, that's what I want to do. I don't want to say better, but just differently and better.
I could say better. Yeah, you could say better.
Differently and better.
Differently and better. Okay. All right.
So good.
I mean, the story behind the character, though, of Eddie, where he took, I mean, Dr. Frankenfurter, he took half of Eddie's brain out and then gave that half to Rocky, and that's how he created Rocky. And then in the movie, you could see the gash across his entire forehead where his brain was apparently taken out. And then he immediately gets killed.
Because like the
After
lore,
the song, he's dead.
the lore is that like Eddie and Frankenfurter had like a thing, like they were like connected, and but there were parts of Eddie he didn't like, so that's why he cut him up and took half of his brain. He wanted the half that was in love with Frankenfurter, not the other half that was a rebellious fucking bad boy on a motorcycle. Dude, I have so much notes on this song. It's fucking dumb. So like, first of all, this is a dope song. This is good old fashioned rock and roll, like through and
It's
through.
good rock and roll, yeah.
Good rock and
Good
roll. There's nothing wrong with this. This should be your 2B. You are stupid
not.
if you think otherwise. You probably have a gash in your head from falling down and hitting your head on the dumb rock that you fell on. But so like in the early stages of production here, Richard O'Brien had doubts. He had doubts Meatloaf could even do this part well because of the amount of words that are in Meatloaf's part. Like the English performance, the English production over in merry old England, they could never get all of the artists to fit all the words in properly. It just sounded weird, or they would omit words because they couldn't do it. So Richard O'Brien gives them to Meatloaf. And this is part of like the fucking 30-minute doc that I watched on Meatloaf, just this one song, essentially.
Oh my God.
And I love it so much. And Meatloaf says, yeah, like Richard O'Brien handed me the script and says, hey, don't worry about it. Like nobody can get it right the first time. It takes like a lot of practice and there's a lot of words and like nobody's ever really said all the words. We just kind of like half-ass it and goofball it. And Meatloaf looks at it and says, I can do this. Like, what are you talking about? Of course I can do this. Fucking first try. Belts it out perfectly. God tier. Meatloaf is God tier. Straight up.
And then it's a shame that his character had such a small role.
So
Like one of the smallest roles in the entire movie.
Also, in every other production of this movie, Dr. Scott and Eddie are played by the same person, right? Because they're related.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, they're related. Yeah, they're uncle and nephew.
So like the joke is, as the audience, like, oh, they look very like that looks like the other fucking actor, and come to find out that's his uncle. Okay, ha ha ha, right? That's funny, but they wouldn't let him do it. They said no.
I wonder why.
Just in the movie, because in the stage production they're the same character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder why in the movie they decided not to do that.
And like I've watched like a lot of things about Meatloaf, especially since he died. What is all the noise over there? What is going on?
There's no noise.
I hear a lot of noise.
What are you hearing?
I hear like, well, now there's nothing, but I hear like a keyboard. Are you playing a keyboard?
No, I'm not playing a keyboard. No.
Do you
Is it
have
this?
a keyboard?
Is it that?
Yeah, I hear it could be shuffling, maybe.
Okay, I don't know what it is.
Well, you just did it. You said, "Is it this?" And you did a noise.
Well, because
What-
no, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It wasn't the noise that you
what's
heard.
the
So
noise?
I don't know. I don't know what you're hearing. I really have no idea what
You're
hearing.
doing some. There's some noise you're doing. You're playing a keyboard.
I'm not even.
or
I'm literally not even moving. I have my arms crossed. I'm not doing anything.
oh, now you're mad. Now you're fucking mad. Is what you're saying?
I swear I'm not doing
Are
anything.
you writing your memoirs? Like, what is all the noise going on over there? That's what I don't understand.
No, I'm not doing anything. So back to Meatloaf. Back to Meatloaf.
Yeah, so like I said, Eddie and Dr. Scott were played by the same person all the time. Meatloaf was really bummed, and like I said, I've never heard him say anything nasty about anybody, and it wasn't really nasty, but he said that he still, before he died, he still kind of held like a little grudge for not being able to play Dr. Scott in the movie production. He said that he could have killed it. And he said like the guy did a great job. Because people, you have to say that, right? You have to know the actor did a really good job.
It's Hollywood.
He had to say that, but he was like, but honestly, like I'm still mad that I was not able to do Dr. Scott because that'd been fucking dope. And then he gets into the fact that not only was this entire scene just riddled with problems, just fuck ton of problems, people getting hurt, people almost dying, but like Meatloaf. This was the first time that he saw what was happening overall. Because when he first got hired for this, he was a nobody. He just got out of hair. Like, yeah, he was a good guy. Like, people know who he is, but he's nobody. He's nobody.
Yeah.
And so they're paying him like $250 a week to be in this show. And they're singing songs, but there's no dialogue yet. They're just singing songs, and they don't know what it's for. They know what the plot of the stage production is for. And so the first time that he sees what is happening is right after they finish doing this, and Tim Curry comes out and does his thing, and like normally during this time everyone's kind of just in like their plain clothes, right? You're rehearsing. You don't need to dress up constantly for this, so you're in your plain clothes.
Yeah.
But Tim Curry comes out fucking full costume, just panties, fishnets, hair, makeup, everything. Meatloaf sees him and fucking books it. He's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this shit. I'm out. Fucking leaves to production after he sees Tim Curry in full costume. And then, like, according to him, supposedly he was so distraught that he actually got like a jaywalking ticket on Hollywood Boulevard because he just bolted out into the street to where cars had to like stop, and a motorcycle cop pulled him over, gave him a jaywalking ticket as like everybody's chasing, like, dude, don't leave. No, it's okay. Like, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's a joke. It's funny. It's supposed to be like campy and silly. And it's just like all of these things come together to make Meatloaf just really, really come into himself, really kind of embrace like the goofiness. And so then he says, okay, we'll do this. It's not a big deal. I will tolerate this as long as possible. And don't forget, this is like the 70s, right? This is not 2022 where like literally nothing shocks us anymore.
Yeah.
So in the stage production, like he's dressed as Dr. Scott and he wears fishnets. And he told the story of how the first time he really kind of realized how great it was to be laughed at was when he was playing Dr. Scott. In the movie Dr. Scott, he has the blanket on his legs.
Yeah, until the fishnets and heel.
Right, and the blanket falls off, and he sticks his legs up in the air, and he's got fishnets, and then he's got like the long high heels, the stilettos on. But the first time Meatloaf did it, and the first time like Americans saw what was under Dr. Scott's blanket was Meatloaf, and the blanket fell off. And he put his legs up, and the entire audience just started laughing and busting up. And Meatloaf is a sucker for like cheap shots. He's like a Chris Farley kind of, but a little bit more tactful. He likes cheap laughs. And he said that like that was the turning point in his career. He decided that he wanted to be like an entertainer and not take himself seriously at all. And he said it was so great to him that he looked over to Tim Curry, who Tim Curry never breaks character ever. And Meatloaf said the entire production of the movie, every time, he had never seen Tim Curry ever break character. But that one performance, that first performance when the blanket fell off and the entire audience was laughing, he looks over at Tim Curry and Tim Curry's fucking busting up. He cannot control himself. He's laughing.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
And like just watching this interview with Meatloaf and just like you can see him just getting like really excited about it and saying this was the turning point in my career where I realized I wanted to be a performer and just like who gives a fuck? I want to just have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's why Bat Out of Hell is so goddamn good. Is because it takes all of these elements, but like it puts it into like heavy metal and hard rock, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It's a joke.
I'll listen. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll listen.
And the last thing Meatloaf said before the interview ended is he said that the jacket that he wears, that Eddie's jacket, he even like brought it out. He said, check this jacket out. I've had this since day one. Ain't nobody touching this jacket but me. This is my jacket, baby. And interview. So good. So good. I'm Team Meatloaf through and through now.
Clearly,
Fucking through
clearly.
and through.
It
Love
is such a shame though that he didn't get to play Dr. Scott. It just makes no sense.
He
In
would
the
have been
movie that he did
so
play.
good at it.
Yeah, it would have added such a different feel to the second half of the movie. Because I mean, like you and I were talking before we started potting, the second half, I mean, the movie is very top heavy,
Absolutely.
and the second half of the movie is, I don't want to say forgettable, but it's definitely lackluster compared to the first half.
Yeah.
But
come on,
had
like,
Meatloaf been Dr. Scott, I feel like it would have given it an entirely different feel. Not to say, like you said, not to say that the guy who played Dr. Scott was bad at all, but Meatloaf would have brought a totally different thing to it for sure.
it's like the difference of wondering what would happen if Vincent Price played the
Criminologist.
the criminologist. Like that's
Yeah.
like the guy was great. Like that's cool seeing him. He did a fantastic job. But holy fuck, Vincent Price? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that would have been unreal.
Come on, stupid talk, silly boy talk. Over
Yeah.
here.
Straight silly boy talk for sure.
So then
All
let's
right.
also
We haven't even played it. We haven't even played Hot Potato or Hot Patootie yet. Hot Potato.
yeah everything here. Let's play it. Let's talk about it. You hate it. It's fine.
So here's Hot Patootie from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. There you go, Hot Patootie, bless my soul, from Meatloaf, from the
So
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
goddamn good.
It is very good. No, it's very good, very rock and roll, like we were talking about.
It's not very
Absolutely.
good. I don't. You keep saying these words that are just vomit. Like they're not. It's not very good. It's so freaking good. It's better than what you were listing it as. It's not a B. I don't understand.
It's good. It's not a B, but it's very
What is not
good.
B about this?
Okay, it's a B. Fine. It's a
piece of
B. It's a
shit.
B.
It should
It's
be
a
your 2B.
banger. It's definitely not my 2B. No way.
There's no other
Oh,
song
fucking-
on here that's probably it's probably Janet. Like, damn it, Janet. That's probably your fucking.
That's a good
2B.
song.
You're
That
like
is a
cuck.
B, but it's not my 2B. No.
God damn, this is a good song.
It is good. It's great.
It's,
All right, so we got anything? What?
I have so much more to say about
Well,
this. You
I
kidding
mean,
me right
yeah.
now?
If we got more,
Jesus.
let's get into it.
Jesus H Christ. So like let's talk about like the problems that this supposedly happened with this here. So we're talking
Okay.
like people falling off high ledges, motorcycles pinning people down, gashes on heads, on arms. So to help with the danger of close-ups, right? So Meatloaf can't ride for shit, and the ice that he breaks through was made of ice and wax.
Oh, they actually
And-
use real ice?
They used real ice and then
Oh,
coated it with
God.
wax. And so like if you think riding on like really cold water and then wax on a motorcycle, like you're gonna get zero traction.
Yeah.
So when Meatloaf is riding the motorcycle, he's fishtailing the whole time. The back tire is just spinning. He's getting no traction. So they eventually just had a stuntman crash through, and then they close up Meatloaf. But then like the whole part where he's going up and down, they told Meatloaf, hey dude, like can you just go up and down the whole like stage? And Meatloaf is like, no, I don't fucking ride a motorcycle. I can't do that. And so they had like the stunt guy do it. But they needed those close-ups. They needed those close-ups of Meatloaf. So they got a wheelchair, and they essentially took apart the entire motorcycle, the top, the handlebars, the windshield, the speedometer, everything, and they put it on top of the wheelchair. They had Meatloaf hold on to it, and then they pushed the wheelchair up and down. But the problem
So
was
dumb.
coming down the ramp, it wasn't like a fluid. Like if you ever been, if we were in drama together and we've seen set designs, and they don't apparently they don't get much better, but the transition from a downhill into flat ground, it's not a gradual thing like you would see on the highways. It's straight fucking down, and there's a hard angle there. And so the motorcycle dashboard is in front of the wheelchair. It's very top heavy. So Meatloaf is coming down the ramp, right? His body double sees this happening, and holy fuck, he's gonna eat shit. And so he leaps up to go help and like stop the whole thing because he knows Meatloaf's gonna eat shit. As he's running over there, his fucking stunt double like falls down, breaks his leg, falls on the floor, and is now like, I don't know if he broke his femur, but like Meatloaf didn't like specify, but he's now like screaming in pain, like, oh, my fucking leg. And everyone is kind of still singing along, snapping their fingers and shit, and looking at him while Meatloaf is still going down the hill. So Meatloaf hits that angle going down the hill, obviously drives right into the ground. The camera that they position on the front of the wheelchair now smashes into pieces. The windshield shatters. Meatloaf gets this huge gash over his head, right where like the actual gash was in the makeup.
Yeah.
Fucking rips his arm open, gets all fucked up. He's bleeding everywhere. All the while, this guy who's trying to save Meatloaf is writhing in pain on the ground, screaming, my leg is broken. All this
Holy
happens.
Shit. All within probably 5 seconds.
All within 5 seconds.
I didn't know
after
about that.
this,
It's wild.
After this, when they decided they were going to try and like film this scene properly and then finish it, the stuntman, like there's a part where the motorcycle kind of stops at the top of the hill there, whatever the hill is in the set. You know, like it's if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So the stuntman stops there at the top of the hill, loses his balance, fucking falls off of the ledge with the motorcycle.
Fuck.
The motorcycle smashes him. So he's laying there, just fucking sprawled out, arms out, like Jesus Christ on the middle of the fucking floor. Motorcycle is pinned on top of him. Meatloaf is the one that runs over and picks up the motorcycle off of him. And Meatloaf says, I remember distinctively, I looked down at this guy, and the stuntman is not moving. He's not moving a muscle.
Oh, fuck.
He's like, I thought he was fucking dead. So he opens his eyes, and slowly he starts to move, and then he gets up, and he's fine. But I guess what the stunt guy said is when you do enough stunts like this, because your body goes into shock, if you get hurt really bad, it's hard to tell if you're actually in pain. So like, I guess like an old stuntman trick is you lay there and you slowly go from your toes to your calf to your knees, and you slowly start to like move all of your muscles all the way up your body to make sure that you're even able to walk away from this.
Holy shit.
For this one fucking scene. For this one stupid scene, all this happened.
Fuck, man. I remember even thinking in the movie there's shots of like, you know, all the people up on the ledge, and there's the safety bar, but then there's one part where there's the ladder that goes down and there's no bar. And I kept thinking there's like 3 people right there that could easily fall off. And when you kind of get like a shot that's more like a wider shot, you could tell that's a pretty high ledge.
Yes.
And even watching it, I felt like, dude, anybody could fall at any moment off of that ledge if they're not being careful. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like a very safe place to be. I mean, nothing about this movie seemed very safe, because like we said, it seemed very bootleg. I mean, it was very bootleg.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like OSHA wasn't even fucking. I mean, I think OSHA was invented in the 70s actually, but like even if it was invented in the 70s,
but this is in England.
OSHA has.
This wasn't in the States. This is in England. This is like a whole
exactly.
Other,
there's no
rules over there.
Exactly. There's no inspectors here. There's no somebody to say, oh, that really needs to be exactly 3 inches higher than where it is right now.
Yeah.
Oy. That one fucking thing did all this stuff happen. But God, this song is so fantastic. It is a perfect rock and roll song. Meatloaf slays. He fits all of these words in. And then I thought, like, how could you not fit all these words in? It's such an easy song to fit all these words in. Well, I don't know. Maybe England didn't really fully understand like the rock and roll thing at the time. Rock and roll coming in the 50s and the 60s. Like they had their Beatles and stuff, but like the Beatles aren't rock and roll. It's trash music.
Oh my God.
So now we're getting a real rock and roll like Meatloaf coming in and slaying a song like this.
A real rock and roller like Meatloaf.
Beatles were not rock. Beatles were never rock and roll. They never pretended to be rock and roll. They were never rock and roll.
What? That makes no sense.
Did you not hear me? Do I need to turn my mic up? What part of that did you not understand?
I mean, that's just a silly boy thing to say.
Beatles were never rock and roll. Beatles were never rock and roll. Beatles never pretended to be rock and roll. They mimicked rock and roll, but they were never rock and roll.
How were they not rock and roll?
Like this, watch.
What
ready?
made them not rock and roll?
They were not rock and roll like that. That's how they were not rock and roll.
I love it. I love that there's no explanation there. Just false claims.
I mean, they never claimed to be rock and roll. They claimed to be like pop rock, and you know they're pop act.
And rock and roll too. That's fine.
They're a pop sensation, but that's okay.
That's fine. Songs like Helter Skelter. That's not rock and roll. Not a good song, but still rock and roll.
The worst
All
album
right, so
fucking ever.
do we have anything? Yeah, it's a terrible record. Do we have anything left on Hot Patootie?
Hot Patootie. No, that's it.
Hot Patootie. Okay. So that was your 2B. Let's get into my 2B, which we should also talk about Tim Curry. We've talked about him a little bit, but he's truly the greatest part of this movie, this whole production. And my second favorite song is Sweet Transvestite. I mean, that song, just lyrically how stupid it is, but how he portrays it vocally, performance-wise, I think it is just it's so perfect. Like, I mean, when the song starts, even like just preceding the song starting, you see the elevator coming down, and you see his heel like going up, like him lifting his foot on beat, like just that introduction to him was just so perfect. And then he turns around really quick, and then the lyrics start, and then Janet screams, and it's a great introduction to this fucking character, the best character in this entire movie.
This song is the reason why Tim Curry is like legend, because this song's dumb. Like it's not even like the catchiest song. It's not like the best song, but Tim Curry makes it so goddamn good. He is so cocky. He is so pompous. He's so full of himself that you can't help but love it. He's so endearing about it. And
he is. And
there's so much breaking of the fourth wall, but like that matches the character of Frankfurter. Like that's, God, he looks at the character of the camera fucking constantly.
Yeah, not even just in the song, but like throughout the entire movie. He constantly
always
breaks the fourth wall. But he doesn't do it like in a way where it makes it look bad. Like he does it in a very snarky way, and I mean he just absolutely kills it. And like you said, the lyrics are stupid and cheesy, but he does it so well in how pompous he is and arrogant he is.
My favorite part of the song is when he says anticipation, but he draws out he says antissa and then draws it out patient. Yeah. Like, oh, dude.
And then it shows other characters, other shots of the characters before he hits the patient part of it.
That's the look of my face every fucking time. That like that O face, like that's what I'm doing the entire time. Perfect.
And then also, like, if you've never seen this movie, especially when I was 13, 14 when I first saw this movie, and this is the early 2000s, so this kind of stuff was still very taboo. And I remember the song when it happened, and then he pulls open the robe, and what he's wearing, the corset,
oh dude,
the pearl necklace, the panties,
it's mind blowing. It's just like,
what
am I looking at?
What is this? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was so outrageous, and like, it was like, should I be watching this? Am I allowed to be watching this?
So many questions.
I've heard my parents talk about this movie, but am I allowed to watch it? It was quite the spectacle, but as you get older, you start to understand, and as times have changed, you're like, this is like nothing. Like, especially nowadays, like that right there is nothing, but then some other scenes throughout the movie, you're like, wow, that shit would not fly nowadays. Especially
like the serious damn near rape of Brad and Janet. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that one for me, I was like, damn, that is like not okay. That is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's not. And then even to the point, like think of this in 1975, like when he goes into Brad's room and he pretends to be Janet, but then Brad realizes it's actually Frankenfurter, and then he goes down on Brad, like he's about to suck him off, and it's just like, whoa, this is 1975, and you're putting out a movie into movie theaters. That's not like a porn movie or a smut movie or something. You're just doing this and getting away with it, and it's just so crazy. And that all the actors were like into it, or at least tolerable of it. It's shocking that they got away with what they did in 1975.
That was very aggressive, because it does show him go down, and because of like their silhouettes, you assume that they're actually touching in some capacity.
Yeah,
because their silhouettes are the same size, and they're kind of the same size in real life. They're both pretty tall, and so when he goes down, you're like, holy fuck! It's not like a trick of like one person standing far back and one person standing closer. Like they're right on top of each other.
Yeah, and then even the way, like, I noticed with the way Tim Curry like grabbed both of the actors and like pulled them toward him, like he was about to, like go the full Nelson. Like, it's just, dude, at that time, I can't believe that was okay at the time, because yeah, especially now. I mean, even now that's questionable. That's straight up that's straight up rape. I mean,
that
what
is.
he does to I mean, he takes Janet's virginity. I mean, that I don't know. It's crazy.
It's such a weird like gray area, because she eventually relents, but
Mhm.
like that first part is just like, what are you doing? Like, why is this happening?
I know, it's wild.
It's wild. It's a wild movie.
But yeah, back to Sweet Transvestite. I mean, should we play a little bit of the song and then talk about it more? What do you think?
We're gonna
I
play
mean,
a
I
little
definitely
bit.
want to play it, but yeah, I don't fuck it. Let's play it. So here it is from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Sweet Transvestite. There you go, Sweet Transvestite from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Musically on this one too, I mean, it kind of has that very loose, swingy blues rock. It's a very blues rock song, and it's so good. Just taking Tim Curry out of it, it's still a solid fucking song.
It's a good song. Every single one of these songs could be a good rock and roll song on their own. Some of them have like the gospel elements. Some of them have like rhythm and blues elements. Some of them have like country swing to them. But they're all on their own, like good rock and roll songs.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I was going to say too about the song is, during the chorus, when you have the backup singers, like that very R&B, when they're not harmonizing, but they're doing the backup vocals of saying "Sweet Transvestite" along with Tim Curry. It just sounds so. It's just so good. It's just a really good, well-made song, and then the crazy saxophone solos, and yeah, it's quite the song. Quite the song, lyrically, musically. I think this is up there definitely with Time Warp, for sure. It's fucking good, and kind of looking too at the word transvestite. I mean, obviously that's not a word that's appropriate nowadays. So I can't imagine them trying to do something like this nowadays. I mean, with the terminology and everything like that. I mean, in the song they reference transsexual, transvestite. Like those are terms that are not socially acceptable anymore. A lot of shit from this movie would not fly today. Like we were talking about with the rape and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty. I mean, this is the least of like the problem. I hate using the word problematic because it's such a stupid word, but yeah, this is like the least of it. But
It was.
I don't know.
It's just it's a very different time period, and then like discussing like transvestites and like androgynous characters. It's things that we take. I mean, I shouldn't say we, because I've realized that coming from Southern California too, like our perception of the world is so accepting. But now moving out here to Arizona, and I slowly like seeing and talking to these older people that live in the retirement communities that I bartend at.
yeah.
And they say things like, "Holy fuck, do people actually think this way?" And like they do. People fucking do think this way.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's so yeah, I don't know. Being from Southern California, I think we are very, very accepting of like all walks of life. Not because like we're accepting it, because we don't fucking care. I think
that's really what it is. Because
literally just
Orange
don't care.
Orange County and LA are such it's such a hodgepodge. Riverside, San Diego, all of this shit down here it's such a hodgepodge of people and lifestyles, and like you're constantly surrounded by different things, and you have different kinds of friends. Like where you're at, I imagine like your neighbors when they grew up, it was all fucking white people.
All white
But
people.
when we
Still
were
is all
growing
white
up,
people.
it was half Hispanic, half white, or not half white, but Asian. We had all these different cultures coming in, but so we just grew up in accepting things because who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter.
And it's like the difference of somebody telling you, like, "Hey, I am this person. I am this way. This is my lifestyle." In Orange County, you say, "Okay, like, I really don't care," because like I don't care. Like, okay, that's fine. I like turtles. I guess I don't know.
I even remember like in high school. I mean, I knew people who were gay in high school, and I didn't care. Like most people didn't care.
It's not like we don't care because we're so fucking woke. It's like literally just don't fucking. I don't want to hear about
Yeah.
anybody's life because everybody's boring except for Meatloaf now.
But it was just like, but we didn't think negatively of the people. Like we didn't judge them for it or judge them negatively for it.
Just yeah, don't,
You know?
don't care, bro. Like what do you
Yeah,
don't care?
it's just it was just very different growing up here. I feel than most parts of the world really. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sweet
Whatever.
Transvestite. Good song.
Yeah, it's a fucking fantastic song.
But like to
I mean,
think that Sweet Transvestite though is almost as iconic, as good, as memorable, as I don't know, great as Time Warp though.
I really think it does. I think
That's
musically,
just silly.
I think musically it's up there with Time Warp. I think lyrically it's just as goofy, but still just as good as Time Warp. I think it's super catchy. It has the same amount of goofiness, the same amount of catchiness. Musically, I think it's on par with each other. Yeah, one's faster
But even
than the
like
other, but this one's way groovier.
dude, Time Warp is just it's transcended
Time Warp-
being
no,
like a good song. It's now iconic. It's now legendary. It's historic. You play Time Warp
is.
for someone who's never seen Rocky Horror, and they'll think like, yeah, this song sounds familiar. I know this song. I know this song. But you playing Sweet Transvestite? No way. No way.
Well, I know, I understand that. I'm not saying it's better or on par with it, but it's damn close. And the only thing that doesn't make it as good is the lyric. I mean, I don't want to say as good, but less accepting or less acceptable in society is the lyrics. That's the only thing that
I mean,
sets it apart.
don't say that. I would just say that it's not as good as Time Warp because Time Warp's so fucking good. Like Sweet
It is.
Transvestite.
It is.
But again, like the first half of this album, this record, this play, this show, this movie, it's untouchable. It's fucking untouchable.
Well, I mean, when you think about it too, you get Time Warp, and then a few minutes later, you get Sweet Transvestite. Like, there's very little time between the two songs.
Yeah.
In the production, in the movie or play. I think in the play too, but in the movie at least, there's very little time in between the two songs. So it's like that 1-2 punch, and I feel like it's a great transition. It's a great flow into the actual main story of it, because you're getting with Time Warp, you're getting the introduction of where the story is going, with the setting of it, and then Sweet Transvestite, you're getting introduced to the main character, and then from there, then you're just developing the story a little bit more, even though it doesn't have too much of a story. What I did want to say too, how I think one of the reasons why, I mean, we kind of touched upon it, but one of the big reasons why this was so popular, especially this movie, was because of who was drawn to it. Like you were saying, the outcasts, the people who didn't really fit in and all that. But then also, in the 70s and the 80s, the gay community and the trans community and all that stuff. This is a very important movie for them, because this showed like a different style, different lifestyle, essentially, a different way of viewing people and not necessarily judging them. And I mean, I think that's another reason why this has been so popular since it came out in 75. So almost 50 years ago? 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 50 years ago in a few
50
years.
fucking years ago.
Yeah. So,
Which I don't think that this movie does a good job at that, but I don't think the movie set out to do that. I think this movie set out to do something shocking, and it got
totally
picked
did.
up by said community, and said community
agree.
decided like, hey, we are going to own this movie now, and it became norm. Like everybody else said, you know what? Yeah, okay, I see what you're getting now, but that's not what this movie intended to do. This movie did not. This movie's not woke. This movie was intended to shock. Tim Curry aside, this movie's not very good. It just really is not. It's stupid. The acting's not great. The movements are janky. The stage, like the way they move, they're moving as if they are on a stage. And so there's a lot of hand movements, like Brad, the actor that plays Brad, he's using his hands in way bigger fashion than you would in a movie, because that's the way you do it on stage. You overdo
it's
everything.
a very different kind of acting. Yeah.
It's silly. It's stupid. But like it was picked up by a community and owned by that community, which is great. And that's what makes it iconic. But that's not what the intention was. So I don't want to give too much credit to O'Brien, because that's not what he intended to do.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily giving credit to him. I'm just saying the impact that it's had on a part of society.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I don't think that was ever his intention. His intention was to shock people, and I think that was it, honestly. And to just like kind of make a movie to make him and his friends laugh. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like not at the gay community, but at laughing at them making fun of the B movies and everything like that, and then throwing in the sexually provocative stuff to make it edgy, to make it shocking.
Right.
But I agree with you. It wasn't for anything other than that.
And it was just, it got taken over, and that's solid. Like, who cares?
It's great.
Yeah, people can take over the fuck they want. This is subjective art.
I think overall this whole thing is a lot of fun, but especially the first half. But let's get into another song. I think we kind of drained this one, right?
Let's
song.
at least we have to talk about Science Fiction and Damn It Janet. Like at minimum.
Wait, what songs?
Science Fiction, the Science Fiction double feature.
Oh yeah,
and then Damn It Janet.
The opening. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Like the opening track to the movie. Like it's just lip singing the tune. You like imagine going to the movie theaters and you're like, okay, this new movie come out. It's just lips. You're like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching here? This track also had a really hard Sympathy for the Devil feel to it for me. Did you get any of that?
You think so? No.
The way it rolls.
I mean, it's kind of folky and kind of.
So is
not what you
Sympathy for
expect.
the Devil. Sympathy for the Devil is also very folky. It's got that very kind of like percussion vibe to it. Very soft guitars. This is a very like. Now that I've said this, if you go back and listen to it, think of Sympathy for the Devil in your mind.
You're a bigger Stones fan than I am. I mean, yeah, I know that
you
song
love.
well.
Come on, that's a top 3 Stone song for you. You only know 3 Stone song, but that's your top 3 for you.
It's a really good song, but I mean, I can't make that connection with this song.
It's just easy acoustic guitar behind cool vocals. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
That's true. That's true.
There's vocal squeals in here. Those are funny.
And kind of reading about it too, I guess that was the mouth itself was Patricia Quinn, the one who plays Magenta.
Yeah.
But then the voice itself is Richard O'Brien.
Right.
So they dubbed his voice over her. So I thought that was like a cool little thing to throw out there.
I felt like Richard O'Brien like fought hard to make himself in this movie more than everybody else wanted him to be in this movie.
That's how I feel about it too.
Which is it's his play, right? Like it's his decision, whatever. That's fine. But I did feel like he pressed it hard.
I mean, I feel like if they had cast somebody else as a riffraff, it would have been totally okay.
Yeah.
Like I understand like he's a necessary character for the story, but
not
his
him.
portrayal's good. But I mean, anybody could have played.
It's a throwaway character.
I mean, his performance was good, but it didn't shine like Tim Curry. So you could replace riffraff with a lot of different people, I'm sure. But I don't know, whatever. But like you said, it's his play. But then also most playwrights, they don't put themselves in their own place.
No.
That's kind of not the point of being a playwright. You cast other people to play the characters that you wrote. So I don't want to say arrogant, but
it's a little arrogant.
But should we play a little bit of this song?
Yeah.
Science Fiction. All right, here we go. Here's the opener to the entire movie from Rocky Horror Picture Show. There we go, Science Fiction double feature from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The opening sequence to this movie. Now, going into this thinking of Sympathy for the Devil, I can totally hear what you're saying, but it's you really have to kind of be thinking about it.
Okay. I mean, I didn't think of that going into this. It was just something that popped into my head as I was listening to it.
Yeah.
But it's there, right?
It only in the guitar playing. Only the guitar playing.
Yeah.
But that's it. I feel vocally like the way Mick Jagger sings it, it's like more of like an O sound. It's like like how he does like he has more of that swoon to his voice.
Yeah.
So vocally I don't hear it, but the guitar, that strumming pattern is kind of similar, even though Sympathy is faster, but the strumming pattern is kind of reminiscent of it. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I do.
See, I'm right. Always right.
But I will say this is the only song on the entire soundtrack that could have been like a proper song on the radio at the time. Like this could have easily been a pop hit, like in the like if it was like late 60s, because I hear a lot of Bob Dylan in this as well, but like better than Bob Dylan. but this is like something that could have been popular in the late '60s for sure, like in the folk pop scene.
Which
I think
is
it's a really well-made
interesting
song.
because this is the only song on the album that was covered by the greatest cover band on earth, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
First thing, give me.
Yeah. So that's something there.
This is a good song. This is a good song.
That's the last album that I need by Me First, and I'm good with Me First.
Which one is it?
It's all of their show tunes. It's called our Me First and the Gimme Gimmes R.A. Drag, and it's just show. It's all show tunes. But after that, I'm good.
All right. So do we have anything left on science fiction on this song?
No, that's it. That's all I got. Yeah.
Okay, and then we wanted to get into "Damn It, Janet" as well.
Yeah,
I think that's a really important song too.
it is.
I mean, kind of what it was kind of, I don't want to say foreshadowing, but in the movie, when the friends are getting married, in the background, it's Tim Curry and then Richard O'Brien and what's her name? Oh, Patricia Quinn.
Dude, but like
They're in the
Tim
back.
Curry, fuck the way he stares at the camera. And then he stares off and he's like visibly taller than everyone. Which he's not that much taller in real life than everybody, but like the way he's visibly taller than everybody, it's hilarious. And then halfway through, all he does is just face the door. He has his back turned the entire time. The only person with his back turned the entire fucking time. It's fucking weird.
And then the what's his name? Richard O'Brien holds the pitchfork. To kind of like show the painting
American
that's
Gothic.
in the house. Yeah, then that painting's in the house, and then at the very end, the weapon he uses to kill Frankenfurter is the laser with that's shaped like a pitchfork.
You know what's
So,
you know what's super interesting about American Gothic too is you like that painting, right? The farmer and his wife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not his wife; it's his daughter. That painting is a farmer and his daughter.
I did not know that.
And because just again, it's just for whatever reason, it's widely accepted that American Gothic, that painting is a farmer and his wife. And so just that kind of subtle perverseness of that is just so perfect with this movie. Because why do we automatically assume that's his wife?
Right? Yeah, I never knew that. I always thought it was.
That's a farmer and his daughter. So good.
Isn't there a song too about a farmer and a daughter?
The farmer and his wife. The farmer, hi ho, the dairy-o, the farmer and his wife. Is that the song?
Is that? Yeah, it's
I
like a
think that's
nursery rhyme thing. But doesn't he say farmer and the daughter? Or maybe I'm just thinking that now because of what you told me.
It's possible. Farmer and his daughter. It doesn't have the same ring.
I don't know.
Hi ho, the dairy-o, the farmer and his cow. It could be anything, I guess, really.
No, you're right. It's farmer and his wife. The song is farmer and his wife.
Farmer
I was
and
just
his wife. Yeah.
It's farmer and his wife. Yeah, that nursery rhyme.
Yeah, that painting is a farmer and his daughter, and I thought it was just so good. The pervasiveness of this movie.
No. Perverse nature.
Am I just making up words here? Pervasiveness?
Yeah. Pervasive. No, pervasive is a word.
But
Pervasiveness could be a word.
Pervasiveness.
But perverse would be better. Like the pervasive.
The perverse
tone of this
nature.
movie.
Yeah, the perverse tone of this movie fit with the American Gothic theme of everybody assuming that it's the farmer and his wife, but now it's the farmer and his daughter, and that kind of puts a different spin on American Gothic.
It makes it even more perverse knowing that also that the characters of Riff Raff and Magenta are brother and sister.
Yeah.
Because throughout the movie, you kind of assume they're like husband and wife, or they're like lovers at least.
Yeah.
But they're brothers and sisters, even though in the movie they say that they're brother and it's mentioned that they're brother and sister.
I know. I never knew that until this week. I didn't know that they were brother and sister until this week. And then when I read that they actually say it, it's like, holy fuck, they actually do tell you that they're brother and fucking sister.
Yeah, it's like they try to push all the buttons, all the shock buttons in this movie. Damn it, Janet.
Damn it, Janet.
And also you start the song with science fiction, which is great. And then the next song, you're essentially using a curse word. You're using the word damn it. Like nobody uses the word damn, like maybe damn at the time, but using the word damn it, that's like a curse word in the 70s.
That's aggressive.
That is aggressive. And to have that as the title of the song, Damn It, Janet, and then but using it in a loving and endearing way, like damn it, Janet, I love you.
Dude. And like the monotone.
It's cool, man.
the monotone Janets from like the Harms, from the American
Yeah.
Gothic Harm family. Like that's the best part. Janet.
Yeah, I know
Janet.
that is the best part.
So good. It's so like Shirelles. It's so like 50s doo-wop era. It's so backup vocals. It's so perfect. It's like setting up
It
this
is.
movie to be perfect rock and roll. And like thinking like Lou Adler, dude. Like Lou Adler had the fucking hand in rock and roll history. Like the dude set up Monterey Pop Festival. Like
I know. I had no idea.
he
I didn't
knows
even-
what
I
rock
never made
and
that
roll
connection.
is. God, it's so good. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like the movie itself it's good. It's all right. It's good.
Yeah, it's
But
good.
like everything else is fucking exceptional.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of Damn It, Janet from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Here we go. There you go. Damn It, Janet from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I also like the Obrad, the monotone Obrads. It's good. That one's just as good as the Damn It, or the Janet.
Yeah, Brad.
It's good. Oh, boy.
It's good
What a
stuff.
song. What a movie.
It's something else.
That's true. Okay, so do you have any other songs you want to talk about in particular?
I did take a little bit of tahine when we were in a little listening to the song.
So your sinuses and mouth is on fire.
Yeah, it's a little spicy.
There's a good idea.
So like for one, Brad stopped short with Janet on this one, on Damn It, Janet.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped short with her, which is kind of funny because I guess that's the thing that's been going on since the dawn of cars, stopping short with somebody in the whatever. And then this is afterwards. This is after like the Damn It, when they're in the rain, the rain scene,
Oh yeah.
right? And I thought that was kind of funny. And then it was a funny part because after the tire blew, the first thing Brad says, he says, "Damn it, we should have gotten that spare tire fixed." It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's so stupid to me.
It is.
Like, why did you not get it fucking? I don't know. It's just I don't know, the meticulous.
Well, they're young kids. They're young, stupid kids.
Which I think like Susan Sarandon is not like an unattractive woman, but she does not look like a young woman in this movie. She's one of those actresses that have always looked a little bit older.
Then
what I mean?
yeah.
I
mean, I think she's very pretty. I've always thought she was very, very pretty.
but she's
but I
never
agree
looked
with
like
you. Like she
22.
never looked young.
She looks like she's
Yeah.
like 30 in this.
But then it's funny. Like even when you look at her now, she still doesn't look super old.
No, she's
Like,
like Morgan Freeman. Like she's just hit that like sweet spot and stayed there.
Yeah, she's always kind of looked the same age.
Denzel,
You know.
Morgan Freeman, Susan Sarandon, they
Steve
all
Martin,
hit that.
Stephen Martin
Dude, Steve,
too.
yeah,
Kinda like,
Steve Martin was he almost was in this movie.
was he really?
Yeah.
Who's he gonna play?
He was going to play Brad. Okay, so
That would have
I've
been so weird. That would have been way too goofy.
so
had
Steve
Steve
Martin
Martin
as
played
Brad. Mick Jagger he asked to play Frankenfurter. Mick Jagger.
Oh God,
I know.
that would have been terrible.
Come on,
That would have
guy.
been terrible.
Hard pass.
Ugh. Yeah, like I honestly, I mean, I really can't think of anybody who could have played Frankenfurter better than Tim Curry.
No.
Like, there's nobody. I mean, it's just, it's too good.
It's
Tim Curry is too good.
it hits. I don't know. It rides that line of good performance with fantastic charisma,
Yeah,
and like Steve Martin is. I think he has fantastic charisma, but I don't think he's like a good performer. He's like a
yeah,
dad.
you're right. Yeah, but he's more like he's more of a goofy character. Like Tim Curry can play a very serious role and be intimidating, you know. But Steve Martin can't, and that's kind of the charm of Frankenfurter. Like you don't know if he's like menacing or if he's just goofy and stupid.
Even when he
You
stabs
just
fucking
can't tell.
Eddie to death with a pickaxe, like you still kind of like,
Yeah,
is this a joke? Like what's going on here? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what I'm supposed to think.
that's true. Oh, you know what I'm gonna watch tonight after we finish this? I'm gonna watch Clue.
That's exactly what I would not watch after this tonight. That sounds.
Why?
It's not Clue.
You don't like Clue?
It's okay.
Dude,
I don't
Clue
have-
is an amazing movie.
I don't have a hankering to go watch fucking
What?
Clue.
Clue is like, oh my god, dude, that is such a fucking great movie. When was the last time you watched it?
Honestly, probably like 20 years.
Oh my god, dude. Seriously?
Out of everything we've talked about, though, like all the Meatloaf stuff, like maybe I'll go watch Heavy Metal after this. All the Tim Curry stuff, maybe I'll go watch Home Alone 2 after this. I don't know. Everything
That's why
we've
you watch
talked about.
Clue. Tim Curry is the main character in Clue.
But it's Meatloaf in Clue.
We don't need Meatloaf. Fuck Meatloaf.
Oh, easy Tiger.
Tim Curry.
Easy Tiger.
Tim Curry is the lead character in Clue. Madeline Kahn is in Clue. I mean, you got so many classic actors, and oh my god, you got to watch Clue.
But
If you haven't, like,
don't
honestly,
have
if you haven't watched
okay,
it in that
okay.
long, you'll. I mean, you're
It better be
crazy.
fucking
Like,
good. It better be fucking good.
You gotta watch it, dude. If it really has been that long, you gotta watch it again to give it a fair shake.
If it's
because
on one of the social or if it's on one of the media streaming sites, I'll watch it tonight.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty positive it is. I have it on Blu-ray, but
Of course you do.
dude, no. I mean, Clue is really good. I mean, I don't know
Who
what
plays
you're
Colonel
thinking.
Mustard?
It's
Who
like-
plays Colonel Mustard?
Colonel Mustard is what's his name from oh my god, what is his name? He's been in so many things. He was in Arrested Development. He was in
As who?
Arrested Development. He plays Gene Parmesan, the PI, the private investigator.
Fucking secondary character. I don't give a shit about.
Well, yeah, he's not a main character in it. He's not a main character in anything.
Oh,
But he's a great secondary actor. And then Mr. Green is played by the guy from Spinal Tap, the really popular guy from that comedy troupe. I can't even remember his name right now either. I know you would know him. He was in X-Files. He was the remember the episode where Mulder and the CIA agent switch bodies?
yeah.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Oh,
And then the singer from Fear is in it. He plays Mr. Body, but he's only in it for like 5 minutes. But, dude, you got to be kidding me. You got to fucking watch Clue.
maybe.
was so
Okay,
good.
possible.
Dude, you like seriously watch it. If you haven't watched it in 15, 20 years, you got to rewatch it. At least give it another shot.
Oh,
It's one of the
there's
best.
a whole,
It's
there's a
like-
whole bunch of
it's-
people in here.
It might be like top 20, top 25 movies of all time for me. Like, I love Clue.
Oh, dude, his name Martin Mull. Like you would never, nobody would ever know who the fuck Martin Mull is. But if you
Who
saw a
plays
picture,
Colonel Custard?
yeah, he plays Colonel Mustard. But like if you saw his face, oh yeah, I've seen him in a fuck ton of movies.
Yeah, yeah.
But for sure, nobody
like-
knows who fucking Martin Mull is.
Yeah, I never remember his name, but yeah, you know it for sure. Oh, and Christopher Lloyd's in it too. Yeah, duh. What am I thinking?
What are you thinking? You're not thinking.
It's just an all-star cast, and it's too
So-
good.
Okay.
It's so fucking funny.
If it's on a streaming site, I'll watch it tonight.
Oh my god. Okay, well we'll talk about it after. Oh, it's on. It looks like it's on Paramount Plus. So, but we'll talk about it after.
All I have is a couple more things, and I'm good.
Okay. There's only one other song I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap it up.
What song? What song?
The Tata Touch Me. Rikki Tikki Tavi.
Ricky Tikki Tavi. Oh, that was a good book. Yeah, that was solid. So like this is a great song. It's fantastic. This is dude, the stupid sound effects when Dr. Scott's wheelchair is coming down the ramp. It's like those old those old school planes that are like meow.
Yeah. Then it explodes.
But it's so loud. Like, why did you put
I
it so
know.
loud? It's so stupid. But like that's
But that was the point.
that's the bootleg of it. It's just
Yeah, it was
like,
supposed to be campy.
let's
and
do it over the
fucking
top. Like I love that part was so fucking funny. I laughed so hard at that.
It is really good.
'Cause I still make that sound. Like when people are doing things at work or whatever, I go meow. Or if like I'm going behind somebody, meow. It's such a
so
good
dumb.
noise.
It's so childish too. But I think I think Susan Sarandon. I think her voice sounds really good on this entire movie. And like what you were saying, which I didn't know about, but she was a little apprehensive about singing, but I think her voice sounds pretty good. I mean, it's not like perfect or anything,
I
but
don't know. I think
it's,
I think she just sings in that like stereotypical female register. That's everything sounds okay.
but it's also nice to hear something outside of just like the male voice too. Like she's, I mean, not the only one, but I mean,
Well,
the
Brad
only-
too. The way Brad talks and sings, he's also stereotypical male lead
Yeah,
voice. There's
yeah.
nothing exciting about him either.
That's true. But this is I don't know. I like this one, and when it goes along with the story too. I mean, at this point, she's already kind of lost her virginity to Frankenfurter, And at this point, she's just like then she sees the video of Brad with Frankenfurter, and Frankenfurter smoking a cigarette in bed, and Brad's sitting at like the foot of the bed, and she's like, she says something like really mean about it. She's like, I can't believe Brad did that, and then she goes and has sex with Rocky. So,
with a non-human thing, with like a
Yeah.
free. They covered up his belly
a
button.
growth.
They like put
Did they
makeup.
really?
Yeah, they put makeup over his because
I never noticed that.
because he would not have an umbilical cord, right? As like as a freak of
Oh,
nature.
that's true. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
they put makeup over his belly button.
I never even noticed that. Holy shit.
God, and those booty shorts that guy wears are so fucking small. Like those are the smallest pair of panties I've ever seen, like on another
Yeah.
human being.
The panties might even be smaller than Tim Curry's in that movie.
Oh, for sure. And there's multiple nip slips throughout the entire movie because the tops are too small. I just don't understand how there's no like the nip slip equivalent of like wieners for panties that
or at
small.
least a ball, or at least some balls.
Like
you know?
how?
Like you would think, especially when the panties are that small.
They're so
you would think there'd be a ball slip or
fucking
something.
small.
But I remember that there was the big nip slip was when is in the ending number when they're all on stage and they're singing, and then Columbia, I think it's Columbia, she comes out with the corset and her boobs are just out, like both boobs are just out,
straight up.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. In the pool scene too, like something's gonna come out in the pool because everyone's like wrestling and goofing off under the pool, laughing. In the pool scene too, there's a bunch of nips that come out in the pool. But the actor that played Rocky recently found those panties and auctioned them off for like $60,000.
Holy shit!
And it was the fucking what pisses me off the most. It was what's that stupid restaurant that buys memorabilia?
Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, Planet fucking Hollywood.
Is that even still around?
I say a couple of years, maybe it was longer than a couple of years, but yeah, no. Planet Hollywood was the one that bought the panties and for $60 to put them in their warehouse. I feel like Planet Hollywood is probably still around because they have so much assets. They have a lot of assets.
They just have a lot of shit. Like, I don't even say assets, just stuff. Like,
but that's like
useless
assets
stuff.
though. Like that's like the
I
panties
guess.
from fucking Rocky and Rocky Horror. Like that's an asset. That's worth money.
Yeah, I guess Planet Hollywood still exists. At least the one in Vegas, LA, those still exist.
Fuck that place. Overpriced shit.
Yeah, and their food sucks, man.
Dude, it was
It's never been
trash.
good.
Terrible food.
And Planet Hollywood was always like the bootleg Hard Rock.
That's the other one. It was Hard Rock Cafe. That's what I was thinking of.
It's always been like the bootleg Hard Rock, and Hard Rock Cafe is fucking stupid too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of Hard Rock, this fucking guy Lou Adler, right? He just decides to fund the Monterey Pop Festival, and that just so happens to be arguably the most iconic picture in rock and roll history is Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar on fire, which happened at the Monterey Pop Festival. And this fucking butt munch, Lou Adler, funds that, and this happened, and then pretends like he doesn't know what he's doing with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I don't know.
But I mean, it did flop though. That's the thing too. The movie did flop really bad.
But I think he saw longevity in it, much like Hendrix. Like Hendrix, I mean, put on shitty performances. He was sloppy as fuck. But to think, there's something about this kid that I think is going to be historic, legendary. I think Lou Adler has an eye for legends.
Or seeing something that's popular in the underground scene, and then taking not advantage, but marketing to the underground scene, because Hendrix never had any hits while he was alive. He didn't blow up until after he died, like we talked about on that podcast. Like musicians loved him, or they were so blown away by him because they were musicians and they understood his talent. But the layman person listening to pop radio isn't going to hear that. They're going to hear like sloppiness and just kind of trash.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was kind of the same way with Rocky Horror. Maybe Lou Adler saw like, okay, yeah, I understand this isn't going to be big on a mass level, but it's probably going to appeal to a smaller audience, but still a lot of people. Maybe he didn't shoot for the big stars, but he shot for the, I don't know, something a little less.
I think Lou Adler was in it for the long run. I think he sees things and says, okay, this is a career rather than a job. He sees Rocky Horror Picture Show as a 50-year investment as opposed to a 3-year investment. He sees like the Monterey Pop Festival. which is essentially like a Woodstock Part 2. Everyone, the people that
But
passed on
Monterey was
Woodstock,
before Woodstock
but like Woodstock became a thing because like nobody knew what was going to
because
happen.
Monterey. Well, yeah, but I mean Monterey was like what, a year or two before.
But so like Woodstock was huge because nobody knew what was going to happen. Like nobody
Yeah.
thought anyone was going to show up to Woodstock. They accounted for I don't know 40,000 people, right? And then,
And then
half
yeah,
a million showed up.
Yeah.
And so but like the Monterey Pop Festival, they held it. They put it on to be a festival. They expected people to show up. People showed up, and that's fine. Yeah, I get it. And that's why it's also iconic. But Woodstock is an anomaly. It's something that will never happen again. It happened one time, ain't gonna happen again.
Yeah, yeah.
But like that guitar sitting on fire with Jimi Hendrix, people think that was Woodstock, and that's
completely wrong.
it's
Yeah.
wrong. But I don't know. Lou Adler just had and speaking of Lou Adler, like Carole King, she worked with Lou Adler a lot, and Carole King was a massive fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show in the early days.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Carole King is somebody I've heard of many times before, and I've never really cared about. But now that we started collecting the vinyls, I picked up her album Tapestry, which is I keep telling you, it's
I
fucking
mean, you see that
fantastic.
everywhere. I mean, it's every fucking record
It
you
is,
go into.
dude. It's a really, really good album, and you listen to it, and you're like, "Holy fuck! I thought this was a this person's song," and then you think, "Oh, I thought this song was a this person's song." Like this girl wrote so many fucking songs for other people. It's unreal. But yeah,
Yeah.
Carole King was an early supporter, and then she would eventually even dress up as some of the characters, which kind of like spurred everyone else dressing up as these characters. But also,
Yeah.
like Keith Moon, fucking early supporter of this Rocky Horror Picture Show in England. It's so much that he would buy all of the cast members bottles of champagne whenever he would go to the show. So the cast members would say like, "Oh, if we went to our dressing rooms and there was fucking 11 bottles of champagne, we knew Keith Moon was in the crowd." Like, come on, how
That's so
fucking
cool.
cool is that?
That's so cool, man.
And like the original person who they wanted to play Eddie was Elvis. Elvis was slated to play
Oh,
Eddie before
God.
Meatloaf. And it didn't work out, but like Elvis went to a bunch of shows, and Meatloaf met Elvis a bunch of times and was like, "Holy fuck, what do you say to Elvis?
Yeah, I know. Especially at that point, you know, by 1973 to 75. Like,
What do you fucking say
yeah,
to Elvis?
What do you see? Like, not. I mean, he's past his prime, obviously, but he's
it's
a legend. I
Elvis.
mean, at that point, yeah, he's a legend at that point. Like he's past his prime, but he's a fucking legend.
And
Wow.
and Meatloaf also in that thing that I saw, he said he met Raquel Welch one time,
Uh,
and he was in his like skivvies essentially because he's all dressed up for the play, and he sees her walking down the dressing room aisle, and it's Raquel Welch, like she's iconic
Yeah.
in her own, and he calls her by the wrong name. He says some other name, and she kind of stops and looks at him, like looks him up and down. This is according to Meatloaf here. And she looks him up and down and just says something along the lines of "That's not my fucking name," and then just walks away. But like Meatloaf just took that as like, "Holy fuck! I just talked to Raquel Welch." Like he was like a fanboy. He was so excited. But it's like,
well, because wasn't she like? Well, she was like a sex goddess of the
yeah,
60s.
she was a
right? Like, she
pinup
was
girl,
like
dude, in the
a
'60s.
yeah,
Absolutely.
She was, yeah.
Like Land of the Lost status, like all those fucking like scantily clad, like looks like her clothes have
Yeah.
been torn by a dinosaur, pinup girls. But like Meatloaf was just so excited to have met like a star, and like don't forget this is well before like Bat Out of Hell. He blew up, and he's out there like in fishnets and underwear, and he calls some major fucking sex icon by the wrong name, and she makes fun of him for it. It's just. Man, it's look at watching plays in Hollywood in like the 70s and 60s and 70s and early 80s. Like that's why LA was the best. That's why LA was the best.
Well,
That's why it was the best.
I wouldn't go that far.
It was the
Wouldn't go that
best.
far.
It was the best. LA in the 70s to early 80s was the best. The best, Jerry.
The best, Jerry. The best. Oy.
Literally the best.
And then so real quick too. What kind of annoyed me was like whoever, I forgot who the costume designer was, whatever. They said like what they created in this movie was the predecessor to punk rock fashion, and I think that's fucking stupid.
It is stupid because
First
punk
of
rock
all-
was before that. It was well before this.
And punk rock was stupid anyway. I mean, punk in the 70s was fucking dumb. It really was.
Well-
I mean, outside of the Clash, I mean, and the Misfits. I mean, punk kind of sucked in
Well.
the 70s.
The Velvet Underground was punk, and they were fantastic.
Well, the Velvet Underground were kind of garbage for the most part. They had like one good record.
Jesus
But,
fucking Christ. Your mouth just says things that are just so stupid.
But you know what I mean. Like
I get it.
It's a really stupid thing for them to say. Or it was
It's-
her, right? I forgot her name now.
It's one of those things where hindsight is 20/20. Let me capitalize on what happened and pretend that it was intentional.
Yeah,
That's what's happening. It's not. Like you guys made a movie that you thought would be funny. It turned into a cult phenomenon, and you tried to backtrack and say you did it intentionally. No, you did it to be a dick. You did it to make fun of things, to make fun of other people's hard work, actually. Because those B movies, a lot of the B movies were like legitimate movies that people thought would be big, and ended up being terrible.
Yeah.
So you
yeah, some of them were. Yeah,
you essentially made a mockery of people's like work. Like that's what you did.
very, very true. Because it wasn't an homage. It was a parody essentially.
But this was before parodies were like widely accepted as being like okay.
It was before like the Airplane movie. Like Airplane was like what parody movies are now. You know, that was the beginning of what we know as a parody movie was Airplane, and that was like 1980, 81. But
I would for sure say Airplane was that was like early 80s. But I would for
think
sure
it was
say like
81.
Airplane was probably like the best example of a movie where it's like okay now I get it. We have a guy that's directing the movie, producing the movie, that loves the movies he's parodying and doing it in a tactful way, in a respectful way, but still making fun of all
being
of it.
so stupid. Yeah, just being outrageously stupid about
But still being respectful because he's seen all the movies he's making fun of.
it. Yeah.
Whereas Rocky Horror, they made fun of fucking Day the Earth Stood Still, all of these movies, King Kong. It's like I find it hard to believe that they've seen all of these movies, all these B movies that they're making fun of. I don't know. Just seems
It's possible.
whatever. I don't know. For whatever that's worth.
All right. So do we have anything else? I mean, I'm not going to play the Touch Me song. Do we want to talk about anything else? Do we want to wrap it up? What do you think?
No. That's all I really got for my notes here.
Okay.
All the good stuffs.
All right. I mean, I'm sure we missed quite a bit. I mean, considering how crazy and rabid the fan base for this movie is, I'm sure we missed a lot. But honestly, we've had a couple days to do this, and it's not a perfect movie, so we're not going to go
Not
too
at
deep.
all.
But whatever. I feel like we gave this movie, the soundtrack, a fair shake, a very fair shake. So, with that, what are your final thoughts? And then after your final thoughts, we're gonna rate the movie based off of our 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect movie, 2 is a good movie. You're gonna continue to listen to or watch or movie. What am I talking about?
I don't know what you're talking
Oh my
about.
god! Let's start this one over. Holy
Rewind.
shit! The whole episode.
Whoa.
All right,
Rewind
so-
that. Rewind.
We're gonna redo the whole episode, all 2 hours of this. So we're gonna rate the soundtrack with our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, perfect soundtrack. 2 is a good one you're gonna continue to listen to. 1 is a bad one, but give it a shot. And 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So with that, what are your final thoughts and your rating? Go.
So like rating a soundtrack is difficult because like do I rate it on a scale of if I gave this to a person who has never even heard of Rocky Horror, I gave it to him and say, "Hey, what do you think?" Like am I rating it off of that? Am I rating it off of someone who's seen it once, who's seen it 100 times, who's seen it once
say-
but like knows like the nuance to it, who's seen it 100 times but doesn't like I don't there's all these factors that go into it.
A lot of factors, yeah.
And they all play like an equal role. Like honestly, they do. Because giving this soundtrack to somebody who's like a rock and roll historian who's never even heard of this movie is going to think, "Oh, this is not a bad fucking like adaptation of like early 50s rock and roll. This is cool. I dig this." But then giving it to like a 16-year-old now who only likes trap music, who's never heard of this, he's going to think this is fucking dumb. So I don't know.
No, you're gonna rate this on your thoughts, on your feelings, on how you feel about it. Like take society out of it and its relevance to society. You gotta. This is what how
That's
you
the
feel
problem,
about
though.
it. That's
That's the problem, though. Is I can't separate the two. I'm not objective enough to separate the yolk from the egg here, because the greatness. I just made that up. You can patent that.
That's really stupid.
I don't even eat eggs either. I fucking hate eggs. Eggs are disgusting. I don't know what the fucking
It makes
yolk
it even
is.
dumber.
Is the yolk the white part or the orange part? I don't even know what the fucking yolk is. I literally haven't eaten an egg in like fucking 10 years. Eggs are so nasty.
You're so weird, man.
Maybe more.
You're so
Maybe
weird.
15, 20 years. Eggs
Just
and
like you
milk.
haven't seen Clue in 20 years, but okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Clue's a bad movie in eggs. Dude, eggs are gross. You're eating like a fucking chicken's menstruation, dude. It's disgusting.
You fucking eat
terrible.
chicken nuggets. Are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here with your disgusting. You're disgusted with eggs. You fucking chicken nuggets.
That's a fair point.
And you eat hot dogs. Get the fuck out of
Oh
here.
my god, are you kidding? I ate a hot dog 2 days ago.
I love hot dogs. Dude, I love hot dogs too.
Oh, I love hot dogs. I legit have not eaten an egg in probably. Actually, the last time I ate an egg was when I worked in Mexico with Palmer, and that was 2008. 2008. So last time I ate an egg was 2008. It was a fried egg. Like I burned the shit out of both sides and put it between two pieces of toast and stomached it because that was breakfast.
You're such a baby, dude.
Eggs are. Do you eat eggs?
You're such a baby. I eat scrambled eggs.
Oh, dude.
I really like scrambled eggs. Like in a
Ugh.
breakfast burrito, especially.
First
Come
of
on,
all,
get
they
the fuck outta
they
here.
smell like farts. They're all fucking rubbery.
No, they don't.
Oh,
They
dude,
don't, they don't smell like
disgusting.
farts.
They're fucking disgusting.
Okay, Mr. Chicken Nugget.
Chicken menstruations, what you're eating. Call them what they are.
That's fine. I don't give a fuck.
So,
I don't give a fuck what it is. It tastes good.
so anyway, I it's hard to separate. Are we rating the movie, the soundtrack? What are we rating here? What do you want me to do?
We're doing the soundtrack. We're doing the music and the soundtrack. We're not. We obviously talked about the movie a lot because we have to, but we're talking about the soundtrack here.
I love rock and roll music. When we did the Richie Valens episode, I have a very, very high tolerance for rock and roll music, American rock and roll music from the 50s. I think it's the bee's knees. I think it's so fucking good. I think it's amazing. So given all that, like I think the soundtrack is amazing because it's very much taken from the 50s rock and roll era. Probably from when Richard O'Brien was like growing up listening to like rock and roll music in the 60s from the 50s. And he's probably trying to write a musical while incorporating that subconscious rock and roll 50s era of him growing up with kind of like the counterculture in the late 60s going into the 70s. So I think there's two different generations here that he's writing a musical for. And I dig that. I love it. I think it's great. Like soundtrack on its own, but it's like it means nothing without the movie. Honestly, the soundtrack means nothing
that's
without the
fine.
movie.
Then rate it with the movie. That's fine.
Okay. I will.
You can rate it however you want. It doesn't matter.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Movie on its own, 2 out of 3. Easy.
Okay. All right.
Movie on its own, 2 out of 3. It's not a great movie. It's the plot dumb. Everything about it is pretty
The
stupid.
plot dumb.
The
The plot dumb.
No, the plot is not dumb. The plot dumb. That's it. The plot
The
dumb.
plot dumb.
The plot dumb.
You fucking idiot.
Is that even what I said? I don't even feel like I said that. Did I say that?
You really did say the plot
Oh, God.
dumb.
The plot dumb. I don't want to waste words. Words are like bullets. I don't want to waste them.
Oh shit! This is so stupid.
So the movie, I'm giving it 2 out of 3. The soundtrack, honestly, on its own, 2.25 out of 3.
Okay, so we kind of the
But this
aggregate
is-
here is like 2.10, 2.15, 2.15.
But like this is one of those times where like the sum is greater than its parts because you put these two things together and it creates something iconic. It creates something that's really, really, really fucking good. And I think as a whole, like somebody watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show and listening to the music at the same time is going to have their fucking minds blown, as opposed to, I don't know why you ever would, but watching the movie on mute or listening to the record by itself. Because on their own, it's just kind of stupid. But together, we're talking like 2.8 because
Okay, there we go. That's after all that we get to 2.8.
there's a lot of buildup, kid. There's a lot of backstory. George Lucas made fucking 3 whole movies of backstory, plus the Clone Wars, plus the Rebels. I mean, come on. The backstory's important. Okay. You tell me backstory's not important? Are you joking my ass?
I didn't say that. You're just talking. I didn't say that.
Jesus Christ, dude. Episode 1, 2, 3, Rogue One, Solo, Clone Wars, Rebels. Like, the list goes on. Are you telling me backstory's not important?
No, it is. I didn't say that.
Jeez, that's all I was trying to do.
All right,
Solid.
2.8. That's your final verdict.
That's
It's
my final
2.8.
verdict, and that's really because together they are amazing. But like I will say again, if you took out Tim Curry from this movie would be shit. Honestly,
Yeah,
it
it'd
would
be
be
trash.
it would be
Be
shit.
trash, yeah. All right. My final thoughts.
I mean,
you
make fun
touched
of every
upon
fucking
everything.
thing you say here. Now, go ahead.
You touched upon everything after all that long-winded explanation about
let me pick
difference
apart
between
every
the
fucking
music
word that
and the
comes out of your
movie
fucking
and-
mouth.
what?
Let me sit here and pick apart every fucking word that comes out of your mouth. Go.
No, I'm not picking it apart. I agree with everything you said, but I'm just going to give it one rating. I'm not going to give it 3 different ratings.
I gave it one red.
I mean-
2.8 aggregate.
Based off of everything we already talked about and then what you just said. I mean, I'm not going to go over all that again, obviously, but I'm going to give this a 2.75. It's far from perfect, but you have to have, like you said, you have to have one with the other. You can't do them separately. It just doesn't make sense. Like if you were to do the movie without the music, the movie would be like a 1. But the music is so much, it adds so much to it, and it's so necessary that it bumps it up to a 2.75. So
Okay.
I don't know. That's my final thought on that.
Okay.
So that's all we got for Rocky Horror. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is very last minute. We probably could have added more in here. So anybody listening who really loves Rocky Horror, fucking deal with it. I mean, I don't care at this point. We're 2 hours deep. I don't care, but
I know we have one listener that like loves Rocky Horror.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm curious as to what they would think.
Yeah, I'm too. I wonder what we kind of really missed out on and didn't bring up, but yeah, whatever. Who cares? I enjoyed myself this episode. This is actually, to me, I feel like this ended up way better than I was expecting it to. So I'm stoked on it. Thank you all for listening. Go to Apple Podcasts, all the whole thing. Rate, review, and subscribe, and keep on listening. Tell all your friends, family, and yeah, that's it. That's all. Tim Curry. That's a good pill too.
Uruguay. That's how the
okay,
locals
yeah.
pronounce it. Uruguay. Like that.
Is that really how it's pronounced?
No, I don't know why I even said that. It doesn't even sound correct at all.
Does it at all? It's no mirror pond, but it's good.
This is better than Mirror Pond.
Oh, you're an idiot. You haven't even had a mirror pond before. Get the fuck out of here. What was I forgot what I was gonna say.
I know what you're gonna say.
What?
This is
That's not even a banger for me.
That's because you're an idiot, but that's fine. Like through.
It's good rock and roll, yeah.
Good rock
Very
and
good
roll. There's nothing wrong with this. This should be your 2B. You are stupid
not.
if you think otherwise. You probably have a gash in your head from falling down and hitting your head on the dumb rock that you fell on. But so like everything.
That's why
we
you watch
talked
Clue.
about.
Tim Curry is the main character in Clue.
But it's Meatloaf in Clue.
We don't need Meatloaf. Fuck Meatloaf.
Well before this.
And punk rock was stupid anyway. I mean, punk in the 70s was fucking dumb. It really was.
Well.
I mean, outside of the Clash, and the Misfits, punk kind of sucked in
Well.
the 70s.
The Velvet Underground was punk, and they were fantastic.
Oh, the Velvet Underground were kind of garbage for the most part. They had like one good record.
Jesus fucking
But,
Christ. Your mouth just says things that are just so stupid. Yeah, that makes sense. Clue's a bad movie, and eggs. Dude, eggs are gross. You're eating like a fucking chicken's menstruation, dude. It's disgusting.
You fucking eat chicken
terrible.
nuggets. Are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here with your disgusting. You're disgusted with eggs. You fucking chicken nuggets.
That's a fair point. It's the plot dumb. Everything about it is pretty
The
stupid.
plot dumb.
The
plot dumb.
No, the plot is not dumb. The plot dumb. That's it. The plot
The
dumb.
plot dumb.
The plot dumb.
You fucking idiot.
Is that even what I said? I don't even think I said that. Did I say that?
You really did say the plot.
Okay. Plot dumb. I don't want to waste words. Words are like bullets. I don't want to waste them.